I made a group chat with my cheating ex's 20 girls. So here's my story. I'm a 32-year-old woman and have been with my ex who's 30. In March, he took me to look at engagement rings, and we talked to both of our families about getting engaged this year. We lived together the whole time, and I honestly thought we were happier than ever. But a week after the ring shopping, everything started falling apart. He had a threesome with a married couple, and apparently, he'd been having a secret emotional affair with a wife for months, even before Christmas. There are more details I can't fit in here, but basically, I had no idea what was really going on. When we broke up, I had to watch him get ready to date other women while I was devastated. He manipulated me into thinking my trust issues caused the breakup, and for a month, I believed it. I lost 13 pounds, emotionally drained, and then on my birthday, he finally admitted he was having a sexual affair. Curiosity got the best of me, and I went through his iPad. I found out he was texting 20 different women, letting them think he was available and wanted a future with them. One woman, who was in her early 20s, believed he was in love with her and even talked about running away with her. He met her just 12 days ago. Meanwhile, he was sending explicit photos to another woman and making plans for hookups. I started writing down every phone number I could find and decided to meet up with 2 other women who had similar experiences with him. I met them through a community, and they helped me craft the message I needed to send to all the women he'd been leading on. I started to realize he never actually wanted to be with me. He had been using me for a place to stay and because he thought I could help his acting career. One of the women I met up with showed me messages from him when we first moved in together, and it was clear he had already been trying to cheat on me. I'm sure once I go public with everything, I'll have even more proof of his betrayal. I decided to post about it on social media to warn other women about him. I wanted to save them from the heartbreak I went through. I'd invested so much emotionally and financially into the relationship, and I truly believed we were heading toward marriage. I feel so blindsided, used, and naive. If I can stop other women from feeling the same way, it will be worth it. I also plan to send a message to his family and close friends, who I grew close to during our relationship. I know this might burn bridges, but if anyone can help him change, it's them, not the women he's been treating like disposable objects. Sadly, we're still living together while I wait for him to move out. I don't know what the fallout will be, but I'm determined to see this through. I have a plan to keep track of who he's seeing and to send all the women detailed information once I have everything. Update number 1. I had to delete my original post for safety reasons since we were still living together. But he moved out last Sunday, and this morning, I sent the messages out to all the women. In total, it ended up being 29 women, though I didn't get any from dating apps, just those he had been texting. He had a woman flying in to visit him soon, but she canceled after reading the message I sent. So far, the response has been overwhelmingly positive. Every single woman I reached out to has been grateful for the heads up. I was shocked. No one has said anything negative to me yet. I did send a private message to his mom, brother, and a few of his friends about his behavior, but I haven't heard back from any of them. Not surprising, but still disappointing. I didn't delete any of our posts on Instagram and went back to change the caption on one of our old photos to warn any girls I might have missed. One woman reached out to me. She had planned to meet him when she was back in town, but now she's blocked him. We're going for coffee when she's back. So far, I haven't heard from him directly. I'm sure things are just getting started, and I'll keep updating as everything unravels. Update number 2, 24 hours later, I went even more public. I posted a couple of videos on social media detailing my experience. I also updated the caption on one of our more romantic videos with a warning for the women he's been seeing. I didn't mention everything, though. I know for a fact that he's been planning to start 2 OnlyFans accounts, as I found messages with photos he was going to use. He's also been talking about collaborating with someone. I didn't mention the hookup parties either, though I did tell the women I reached out to. I was on the fence about sharing this last bit, but they deserve to know the full story. I also have concerns that he may be selling intimate videos or photos of women who didn't consent to that. A lot of the women have sent him explicit content, and I believe he may have recorded some of it without their knowledge. I understand why so many find it hard to believe the number of women he's been involved with. He's an attractive, Charming guy. Everyone's exception, including me. But this might be the first time in his life he's been held accountable for anything. Update number 3. My ex filed a restraining order against me. I got a letter from a lawyer asking if I wanted to retain services for my legal case, which was confusing. I looked up the case number and found that he was claiming I threatened him with a firearm. The truth is, the gun isn't even mine. It belonged to a former roommate who moved away, and it was in his custody when we were together. He's trying to manipulate the legal system to silence me, which is exactly what I expected from him. I have all the proof to back up my side of the story, statements from my therapist, messages from other women, and even screenshots of his journal. I'm confident that the truth will come out in court, so I'll let you know how it goes. Update number 4. I know it's been a while, but I wanted to update everyone. After court, he didn't show up, and the judge dismissed the case. The bailiff mentioned that if he tries to file another false report, he could face criminal charges. That's a relief, but the whole situation has opened my eyes to how much harm he's caused. I've been reflecting on everything, and I feel like I've turned a corner. What he did to so many women is terrible, but I'm proud of myself for standing up and taking control of the narrative. What helped me the most was realizing that I've helped other women avoid the same pain, and that makes everything I've done feel worthwhile. I'm learning to trust myself again. I feel like I'm slowly getting back to who I was before I met him, finding happiness in the little things and rebuilding my sense of self. I know I deserve the absolute best, and I'm not going to settle for anything less. My friends and I are trapped in a toxic friendship with someone threatening us. A couple of years ago, I introduced a guy, let's call him Jay, to my close friend group. At first, he was friendly and supportive, but after joining our group, he started teasing me alongside my other friends. It was all lighthearted at first, but over time, it got worse. Now, all he does is make fun of me, mocking my accent, joking about a sensory issue I have, and calling my interests embarrassing behind my back. He does this to the rest of my friends, too, often making really negative jokes at their expense. There was one time, though, when I was upset, and he seemed to try comforting me. But then, he turned it into a way to criticize another friend, Amy, who didn't support me at that moment. For over a year, we planned a trip to meet in person. We all live in different countries, hoping it would help smooth things over. But every time something came up, Jay would message me or another friend, Layla, to complain about our other 2 friends, Ethan and Maria. He even got paranoid, thinking they were plotting against him just because they had private chats with each other. It's important to note that Ethan and Maria are a couple. Layla and I thought that maybe meeting in person would give Jay the chance to connect with Ethan and Maria better, but it only made things worse. The day before the trip, he made a huge fuss over a small issue with their tickets, even though it was something that could have been easily fixed. During the trip itself, he excluded himself from the group. We'd try to get him to join us for breakfast, but he'd stay in his room. When we'd go out to explore, he'd leave early, and when we were walking somewhere together, he'd be way ahead of us. It made things uncomfortable for everyone, but what made it worse was how he acted at the event we went to. He made rude comments about some artwork right in front of the artist, insulted a cosplayer as they walked by, and joined me at a panel just to make fun of it afterward. Jay also made a lot of inappropriate sexual jokes. He once joked about me and my sister getting into a taxi, which genuinely scares me. I have a fear of taxis. He also made jokes about my friends, Ethan and Maria, saying things like they must have slept together because they hugged each other, and kept speculating about their relationship. It didn't stop there. One night while we were playing a board game, Layla was chatting and laughing with Ethan and Maria, and without meaning to, she spoke over Jay. Instead of asking her to wait or be patient, Jay punched Layla in the side full force. He then tried to brush it off by saying, "Oh, I didn't mean to hit that hard." The rest of us were so shocked and scared that we didn't say anything at the time, and Layla just stayed quiet until we could all get home. Now we're stuck. We didn't confront him in person, but we're scared to do it online too. Jay has joked about posting embarrassing photos or exposing us to others if we stop being friends with him, and we know he's serious because he did something similar in the past when another friendship ended. He posted private chat logs online to humiliate the other person. For some extra context, Jay has a diagnosed mental health issue and is on medication for it. He's mentioned in the past that he did something extreme because he was off his meds, but his actions often seem to go far beyond that, and he doesn't seem to think he's doing anything wrong. I can give more details if needed, but I've tried to keep it concise. He has lied and manipulated people in the past, trying to get others to pick sides in conflicts. We're all scared of how he might retaliate if we cut him off, and we don't know how to protect ourselves. We feel like we're stuck in this toxic friendship, but we're also terrified of the consequences of ending it. Any advice on how we should handle this would be really appreciated. I discovered a shocking secret about my daughter's biological family. Now I'm stuck in a tough dilemma. So about 2.5 years ago, after breaking up with my long-term boyfriend, I ended up getting pregnant with Liam, a 24-year-old man, on a rebound. A couple of weeks later, I got back together with my boyfriend, and I found out I was pregnant. I tried to include Liam in the situation, but he didn't want anything to do with it. He told me that his family, especially his dad, George, who's 66 years old, threatened to cut him off if he stepped up. He refused to attend any doctor's appointments. And by the middle of my pregnancy, he completely disappeared, even when I was hospitalized for a possible miscarriage. So my boyfriend, who's now my husband, stepped up and supported me through everything. We got married, and he's listed as my daughter's father on her birth certificate. His family has accepted her like their own, and I don't think most people even know she's not biologically related to him. We now live about 10 hours away from where I grew up, so Liam and George have never been a part of my daughter's life. For all I know, they've had no interest in her, so I've just let it go. But recently, my mom, who still lives in my hometown, has been in touch with George a lot. She works in a job where she interacts with a lot of local people, and they've struck up a conversation during some downtime. She hasn't told me much because she knows how much this situation hurts me. But apparently, George has said some things that completely change my perspective. Apparently, George desperately wants grandchildren. He has 4 kids, one of whom passed away recently. One is gay, one has no desire for children, and the last one is Liam. According to George, Liam is a disappointment. He's been in trouble with the law, works as a bartender, and hasn't really turned his life around. George believes Liam is just waiting for him to die so he can inherit the family money and live comfortably. He sees his brother with multiple grandkids and wishes that could be him. Now, here's the kicker. Liam never told his family about my daughter. George has been very open with my mom, making statements like, "There's a grandchild out there I can't even see because my son messed up." I'm torn. On one hand, I feel horrible because Liam missed out on knowing this amazing little girl who's thriving and surrounded by love. On the other hand, I really don't want to open that door again with Liam. He's been nothing but trouble for me, and I don't think he deserves to be a part of my daughter's life. But George, he's an older man. He's been through a lot, and I know he's not in great health. He's had heart issues, and I can tell that this is something that weighs on him. I feel bad because my daughter could have another loving grandparent, and I don't think George should miss out just because his son is, well, not a great person. I'm just so torn. I've been losing sleep over this. Should I tell George about my daughter? Or should I just leave it alone and let things stay as they are? I'm breaking up with my girlfriend over her unbelievable obsession with plush toys. I honestly wish this were a joke. I'm a 34-year-old man and have been in a relationship with my girlfriend, Emma, who's 31, for about 2 years. She's amazing, smart, caring, funny, everything I could ever ask for. But there's one thing I didn't realize when we first started dating. Her obsession with stuffed animals is far beyond what I could have imagined. When I first went to her apartment, I thought it was charming that she had a few plush toys on the bed. Nostalgia, right? But over time, I started noticing it wasn't just a few cute toys. There were hundreds. Her bedroom, completely covered in plush animals. The couch, stuffed animals. Her car, you couldn't even see the floor in the back seat because it was packed with plush toys. She even had a life-size stuffed tiger that practically dominated half of her living room. I try to be understanding. I even bought her a giant plush rabbit for our anniversary, thinking it was a sweet gesture. But things took a strange turn soon after. One night, I woke up to hear her quietly talking to her stuffed animals. At first, I thought maybe she was just sleep talking, but nope. She was fully awake and holding full conversations with them. Every night, she would line them up in a circle and chat with them like they were real people. She'd tell them about her day, ask them for advice, and even wanted me to join in. At first, I humored it, thinking it was just an odd quirk. But then things really crossed the line. She started referring to them as our kids. She'd say things like, Teddy was really upset that you didn't give him a hug last night, or Cuddles got hurt when you dropped him, and now he's sad. A few days ago, she suggested we move to a bigger place because our kids needed more space to roam. I just couldn't take it anymore. I sat her down and calmly told her that I couldn't live like this in a house full of stuffed animals. She broke down crying and accused me of abandoning our family. That was when I decided I had to leave, so I packed my things and left that night. Now, I'm left feeling conflicted. Maybe I should have tried to be more understanding or handled it better. But at what point does a quirky habit become a serious problem? I sleepwalked into my new roommate's bed at 3 a.m., and now she's totally freaked out. Hey, throwaway account here. I'm in a really awkward and uncomfortable situation right now and could really use some advice about how to handle it moving forward. I moved into a new house 2 days ago with Sophie, a 34-year-old woman who has lived here for about 10 years. She's been really welcoming, helping me unpack and making sure I felt at home. It's been a huge transition for both of us, especially since she's been living alone for the past few years, but she's been nothing but kind to me so far. At 2:30 a.m., I woke up to find Sophie shaking me awake. I was in her bed, and she was really freaked out. Apparently, I had also dragged some toilet paper from her bathroom in her room and knocked her laptop off the bed. When I went back to my room to talk to my friend, she confirmed that I hadn't gone into Sophie's room intentionally. She said I'd gotten up 10 minutes earlier, but she had no idea where I went. I was in complete shock. I've never sleepwalked before. I wasn't drunk, and I hadn't taken any sleep medication. I have no idea what happened. When Sophie woke me up, I could tell she was really shaken, and I felt awful. I apologized profusely, explaining that I would never intentionally invade her space. We ended up talking for a while, and she said she felt uncomfortable and unnerved. We both locked our doors and tried to sleep again, but the situation was still hanging over us. The only thing I can think of is that I took an antihistamine, like Allegra, for the first time yesterday, so I'm wondering if that contributed. This morning, I'm obviously really anxious. I'm worried that Sophie might want me to move out, and I'm not sure what to say to make things right. Update. First off, thank you to everyone who commented or offered advice. Here's how things went today. I woke up early, stayed up doing some research on antihistamines and their potential side effects. I really don't think it was the meds, but it's the only explanation I can think of. Maybe I drank too much wine last night, but honestly, I didn't eat much at all, just a spring roll, so I'm not sure. I went to the local market and bought Sophie some sunflowers to show I was thinking of her. Then I texted her to let her know where I put them and said I'd like to chat. She said she'd talk to me when she got home. When Sophie came back, I was putting some things away, and we had a conversation. I think she might have thought I was drinking a lot more than I do, but I honestly don't drink often. She told me she was really uncomfortable about how things had gone last night. She also said she'd initially considered that we might not be able to live together, but after reflecting on it, she was willing to move forward and put it behind us. She said she didn't think I was weird, but that she would be more on edge for a while because of what happened. I get it. I would probably feel the same way in her position. To be honest, I'm extremely embarrassed by the whole situation, but I'm just relieved she's willing to give things a chance. I'm hoping this will just be an awkward blip that we can laugh about eventually. For tonight, I'll be locking my door and staying in my room. I have a private bathroom, so it's not an issue. Going forward, I'm planning to set up a sleep tracker to monitor my habits so I can figure out what caused this.